Today I'm going to reveal how to stop chasing women and make them start pursuing you instead. Many men don't realize that constant chasing creates the opposite effect of what's desired. In fact, Stoic philosophy offers powerful principles that completely transform your attractiveness. In the next few minutes, I'll detail a foolproof method that will change your relationship dynamics forever. When you understand the paradox of attraction, the need to chase disappears and your natural magnetism emerges. Have you ever noticed how most dating gurus' advice seems to work for everyone but you? The reason is simple and devastating. You're following a map that leads to the wrong destination. True seduction doesn't start with what you say, but with who you are. And the problem is no one is showing you how to become the man who naturally attracts instead of desperately chasing female attention. Before we dive into the method itself, let me ask, how much time have you already wasted trying techniques that promised immediate results but only left you more frustrated? Months? Years? The painful truth is that each failure only reinforces an unconscious pattern that continuously sabotages you, pushing away exactly the women you want to attract. The vicious cycle is brutal. The more you try, the more desperate you seem, and the more women sense that desperation miles away. The method I'm about to reveal breaks this cycle once and for all. And the most incredible part, it's based on evolutionary psychology and universal principles of attraction that transcend cultures, eras, and types of women. So take a deep breath and prepare to unlearn everything you thought you knew about seduction. First, the paradox of attraction. I'm going to start by destroying the biggest myth that keeps you stuck, the idea that you need to impress a woman to attract her. This is exactly the mistake that makes interesting men seem desperate and low value. Think about it. When you actively try to impress someone, what does that action instinctively communicate? That you are of lower value and need to prove your worth to her. The paradox is devastating. The more you try to prove your worth, the more you subconsciously communicate that you have no inherent value. It's like a vicious cycle from which it's almost impossible to escape until you understand the hidden dynamic behind it all. The first transformation begins when you internalize this truth. Attraction is not something you do, it's something you are. Think about the men you know who naturally attract women with no apparent effort. What do they have in common? It's not extraordinary looks. It's not money. It's the complete absence of need for female approval. These men operate from an internal state of abundance, not scarcity. They aren't trying to conquer, they are selecting. And this subtle difference completely shifts the power dynamic in any interaction. When you approach a woman coming from the mindset of, I need to impress her, you've already lost before you even started. Now, the question that changes everything. How do you shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset when all your experience seems to confirm that you really do have limited options? The answer isn't to fake confidence. Women have an extremely accurate radar for detecting falseness. The true transformation comes from a complete reconstruction of your self-image. Start by identifying all the areas of your life where you seek external validation, not just with women, but with colleagues, friends, family. The pattern usually repeats in multiple contexts. Over the next 2 weeks, become obsessively aware of every moment you adjust your behavior to please others. Don't judge, just observe. This is the critical moment where most people give up, because facing this truth is painful. But remember, the pain of growth is temporary. The pain of continuous rejection is permanent if nothing changes. Simultaneously, start building an internal source of validation. Commit to a significant personal challenge, something difficult enough to demand your complete attention. When your mind is consumed by a greater purpose, the desperate need for female approval naturally diminishes. This creates a fascinating effect. When you stop chasing validation, your behavior changes in subtle but profound ways. Your body language becomes more relaxed and dominant. Your voice gains a more resonant quality. Your gaze becomes more direct and comfortable. These are all signals that evolutionary psychology has proven to be irresistible to women, not because you're trying to display them, but because they emerge naturally from your new internal state. Let's make this practical. The next time you're talking to an attractive woman, do this mental exercise. Imagine that she is the one who needs to impress you. This isn't a manipulative technique, but a recalibration of your perception to align. with the reality of the high-value man. The man who naturally attracts is constantly evaluating whether the woman in front of him meets his standards, not just physical, but of character, intelligence, and compatibility. The difference is immediately noticeable. Instead of trying to fill every silence with something impressive, you'll allow yourself moments of charged pause. Instead of agreeing with everything she says, you'll express your true opinions, even when they differ. Instead of trying to prolong the interaction at all costs, you are perfectly comfortable ending it if you're not being stimulated. And here's the twist that confuses most men. This behavior, which seems to contradict everything you've learned about how to get women, is precisely what sparks genuine interest in them. It's not a trick or a technique. It's the natural reflection of a man who knows his worth. The paradox of attraction is resolved when you understand that true seduction happens when you stop trying to seduce. Second, the alchemy of presence. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and instantly seem to fill the space? I'm not talking about being extroverted or loud. I'm talking about a magnetic quality that draws attention even when they are silent. This is the alchemy of presence, and it's the second pillar of authentic seduction. Most men exist in a state of diluted presence, mentally fragmented between the past, ruminating on mistakes and rejections, and the future, anxiety about the outcome of the interaction. This internal division is instantly perceived by women, even if not consciously. They sense that you are not fully present, that part of you is somewhere else, and this kills any possibility of genuine connection. Magnetic presence arises when you exist completely in the present moment, absorbing every detail of the environment and the person in front of you without being consumed by thoughts about how you're doing or what will happen next. To develop this quality, you need to train your mind like a muscle. Start with daily 10-minute mindfulness sessions, simply observing your breath and bringing your attention back each time it wanders. This seemingly simple practice literally rewires your brain over time. In your daily interactions, practice what I call absorbent listening, the ability to completely immerse yourself in the other person's world. When a woman is talking, completely abandon the worry about what you're going to say next. Instead, become absolutely curious about what is happening in her inner world. This form of attention is extremely rare in the modern world of constant distractions, and therefore incredibly valuable. When a woman feels that you are genuinely present with her, not just waiting for your turn to speak or thinking about how to get her into bed, something extraordinary happens. She feels seen in a way that few men can provide. Also, practice comfortable silence. Most men talk too much when they are nervous, diluting their perceived value with every unnecessary word. The man with magnetic presence is comfortable in silence, knowing that his presence communicates more than words. Try maintaining eye contact 1 second longer than might feel comfortable. Not in an intimidating way, but with a relaxed and focused quality. This simple adjustment communicates a subconscious confidence that is immediately noticeable. The alchemy of presence also manifests physically. Start practicing what I call grounding, the feeling of being solidly connected to the ground beneath your feet, breathing deeply into your abdomen, allowing your movements to become more deliberate and less nervous. During an interaction, practice fully occupying your space. Many men physically shrink in the presence of an attractive woman, a primitive sign of submission that kills attraction instantly. Instead, allow your arms and legs to occupy the natural space they deserve. Sit or stand with posture that communicates comfort in your own body. The voice is another critical component of presence. Most men speak from the throat when nervous, producing a higher, tenser tone. Practice speaking from your chest, slower, lower, more resonant. This vocal quality alone can transform how women respond to you. Here's a practical exercise. Before any important interaction, take 30 seconds for 3 deep breaths, feeling your feet firmly planted on the ground. Visualize your energy expanding to fill the room. This simple ritual creates an immediate physiological shift that amplifies your presence. The beauty of magnetic presence is that it doesn't just transform how women respond to you, it transforms how you experience your own life. When you are fully present, social anxiety naturally decreases. Interactions become opportunities for genuine discovery, not tests to be passed. If you're putting these principles into practice, I want you to hit the like button right now and share in the comments which aspect of presence you most need to develop. Your engagement helps me keep bringing you this transformative content. Third, the irresistible narrative. Few people understand the power of a captivating personal narrative. I'm not talking about inventing stories or exaggerating your achievements. I'm talking about recognizing and articulating the unique elements of your life journey in a way that resonates deeply with others. Women are naturally attracted to men whose lives tell an interesting story, not necessarily a story of conventional success, but a narrative of authenticity, purpose, and self-discovery. Your job isn't to impress, it's to intrigue. Start by identifying the defining moments of your life, the struggles, triumphs, choices, and accomplishments that shaped who you are. Even experiences you consider mundane can become fascinating when framed through the right lens. The key to an irresistible narrative lies in selective vulnerability, the ability to reveal challenges and imperfections in a way that demonstrates strength, not weakness. When you openly share how you overcame obstacles, you communicate a deep confidence that is magnetically attractive. Practice articulating your story in different formats, 30-second, 2-minute, and 10-minute versions. The shorter version should capture the essence of what makes you unique and interesting, while the longer versions can reveal more layers and nuances. During conversations, learn to identify natural opportunities to share elements of your narrative, always maintaining relevance to the moment. This doesn't mean dominating the conversation with stories about yourself, but rather inserting glimpses of your journey that create curiosity and connection. Observe how women respond when you reveal something genuine about yourself, an unexpected passion, a transformative experience, a unique life philosophy. This type of sharing creates openings for them to reveal more about themselves, establishing a positive cycle of mutual discovery. Remember, the best narratives aren't about external achievements, but about internal transformation. How have you changed? What have you learned? What values have emerged from your experiences? These are the questions that make your story resonate on a deeper level. Also, develop what I call sensory language, the ability to describe experiences in a way that engages the senses and emotions. Instead of simply reporting facts, transport the other person to the moment through vivid details, creating a shared experience. Another powerful element is what psychologists call narrative tension, the art of revealing information gradually, maintaining an element of mystery. You don't need to and shouldn't reveal everything about yourself immediately. Gradual discovery creates a sense of adventure in the interaction. And here's a crucial insight. Your narrative must continue to evolve. The truly attractive man is constantly growing, learning, and seeking new experiences. When you live a life that is authentically interesting to yourself, you naturally become interesting to others. The irresistible narrative also includes elements of purpose and direction. Women are attracted to men who are actively pursuing something larger than themselves. What is the mission that guides your life? What impact do you want to have? These questions, when authentically incorporated into your story, create profound magnetism. Practice this exercise. Identify 3 life experiences that reveal important qualities about who you are. Refine the way you share them until each one communicates exactly the essence you want to convey. Test them in different social contexts, noting which elements generate the most engagement and connection. Remember that the goal isn't to memorize scripts, but to develop the ability to authentically share who you are in a way that is genuinely interesting. The most powerful narrative is the one that reveals your complete humanity, strengths and frailties, successes and failures, certainties and doubts. Fourth, the mastery of escalation. Now we come to the component that most men fear the most and understand the least: how to advance an interaction from platonic to romantic and sexual. This is the art of escalation, and it's where the previous principles come together to create magic. The fundamental mistake most men make is attempting escalation without first establishing a solid foundation of attraction. When you have the paradox of attraction resolved, a magnetic presence established, and an intriguing personal narrative underway, escalation becomes much more natural and successful. The mastery of escalation begins with the understanding that female attraction is experienced primarily as an emotional response, not a logical one. You don't convince a woman to feel attraction, you evoke that feeling through a subtle dance of tension and release. The first principle of effective escalation is what I call 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You advance intimacy or tension in a clear way, then retreat slightly, creating space for her to move towards you. This dynamic creates both safety and excitement, the perfect combination for female attraction. In practice, this might mean intensifying eye contact for a moment, then casually looking away. It might mean a brief touch on the arm during a moment of shared laughter, followed by a physical retreat. It might mean a suggestive verbal insinuation, followed by a shift to a lighter topic. The second principle is accurate reading of interest signals. Women rarely express sexual interest directly. Instead, they communicate through subtle cues that you need to learn to recognize. Voluntary physical proximity, accidental touches, personal questions, laughing at your jokes even when they aren't that funny. These are all indicators of increasing interest. Develop the habit of noticing these signals without overreacting to them. When you show that you recognize her interest without becoming overly excited, you communicate a familiarity with female attention that is deeply attractive. The third principle of masterful escalation is the strategic use of tension. Most men try to eliminate all tension from their interactions with women, not realizing that tension, when managed correctly, is what creates desire. Learn to be comfortable with charged moments of silence, maintaining steady eye contact. Practice making slightly provocative statements that challenge her in a playful way. Develop what psychologists call sexual framing, the ability to create a context where romantic attraction is the underlying theme of the interaction. Important. Effective escalation always includes careful reading of feedback. Contrary to what some dating gurus teach, you are not trying to overcome resistance. You are seeking genuine enthusiasm, even if subtly expressed. If you sense real discomfort, do not confuse with attraction nervousness. Retreat immediately and re-establish connection at the previous level. The fourth dimension of masterful escalation is environment control. Recognize that certain escalations are appropriate only in certain contexts. Learn to create or gravitate towards environments that naturally facilitate greater intimacy, quieter corners of a bar, walks in secluded parks, private spaces after establishing sufficient comfort. The fifth element is dominant nonverbal communication. Your body often communicates your intentions before your words, so cultivate body language that projects secure confidence. Slower, more deliberate movements, an upright but relaxed posture, and a firm yet gentle touch communicate masculine maturity that invites natural feminine submission. Practice these escalation techniques gradually, starting with low-risk interactions to build confidence in your abilities. Over time, you will develop a refined intuition for when and how to advance an interaction. Remember that the mastery of escalation is not about how many women you can close the deal with. It's about creating deeply satisfying experiences of authentic connection and intimacy. When your motivation comes from a place of abundance and a genuine desire to share an incredible experience, the energy of the interaction changes completely. If you've made it this far, I see your commitment to transformation. Leave a comment. Now with any specific questions about these principles, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I release my next videos in the Authentic Seduction series. In the upcoming videos, I'll delve deeper into each of these pillars with practical examples and specific exercises for your development. But before we conclude, let me share one final truth that few men have ever discovered about authentic seduction. The real transformation happens when you stop seeing seduction as something you do to get women and start seeing it as a path of personal development that naturally attracts the right kind of partners into your life. Every principle I've shared not only makes you more attractive to women, it makes you a more integrated, conscious and powerful version of yourself. The final paradox is this: when seduction becomes less about conquering others and more about conquering yourself, your power of attraction skyrockets exponentially. This is the ultimate alchemy of authentic seduction. See you in the next video. Until then, remember, you're not learning to seduce, you're becoming naturally seductive.